French Lick, Indiana. Famous for many things. The birthplace of basketball great Larry Bird, and also the home of French Lick Resort, an iconic name in Midwest vacation and relaxation for many years. This also happens to be the birthplace of tomato juice. That's right, the chef here in 1917 invented tomato juice by accident. Ran out of oranges, squeezed tomatoes for breakfast, and now we have tomato juice. The Bloody Mary thanks French Lick. We're gonna bring all of this to you on this episode of The Traveling Golfer from the beautiful countryside of Indiana. A lot of people wonder how so many visitors found this bucolic setting in southern Indiana during the 1800s. Well, thank the Iron Horse, the railroad. It brought so many visitors from Chicago and throughout the Midwest to French Lick, this tiny town, the two fantastic hotels, the warm springs, the mineral baths, that lives on today. Visitors now come for a nostalgic trip while they're playing the golf courses. We hope you'll enjoy this latest episode of The Traveling Golfer from French Lick, Indiana.
This lager comes from a place that's been brewing beer for longer than anyone else in America, where men and women have crafted amber gold in the caves below since before refrigeration. It comes from Yuengling, America's oldest brewery, and brings with it all the know-how that doing a thing well for nearly 200 years affords. Yuengling Traditional Lager. Respect. It's earned.
Pete Dye in on an even hillier piece of property, this amazing top of the mountain here that took quite a bit of an engineering feat to build a golf course.
Yeah, he moved the same pile of dirt a lot of times. You know, we always joke about it, Pete saying he's the only guy that ever exceeded an unlimited budget. So, yeah, it was a challenge for Pete. The first day he looked at the property, he said, "There's no way, it's too hilly, we can't do it." He came back the next day, made the remark to me, "Tell your boss I'm going to build this course whether he wants me to or not." So we decided with that we better let him because he's going to be here. So, I mean, as far as the hills, if you walk the Ross course and you walk this golf course, Ross is a lot more difficult to walk.
Really? Because all the greens and tees are so elevated.
Well, you're crossing a lot of ravines, like on the
Yes.
par threes to get to those par three greens. But here, if you stay in the fairway, it's a fairly flat walk with the exception of 2 or 3 holes. Now, if you get off the fairway, you can go down 100 feet pretty fast, and it's pretty difficult to get up and down. The hole behind us here is an example.
At more than 8,100 yards from the back tees, I firmly believe this is, if not the most difficult, one of the 5 most difficult golf courses in America. I know you tried to address that with multiple tees, but are there some other ways that the average golfer can come here and handle the Pete Dye course, if not to break par, but at least to get around in an enjoyable fashion?
I think that, of course, the tees play a big part. You know, Pete's got those tees set up where if you hit it 200 yards, you have a specific landing area. If you hit it 250, you've got a specific landing area. If you hit 300, it's specific. But at the end of that landing area for that 200-yard hitter, it pinches down to no fairway. And the same with the 250 and same with, but it's all the same landing area. So he's really a genius in building those tees where everybody competes equally at the same landing area. I think here the 4 caddy is a very important part to help you not only get around the course but to enjoy it, because the greens, the short game here is very deceiving. The breaks in the greens aren't as pronounced as the Ross. They're very subtle, but you almost scratch your head sometimes. I still do. I don't play it a lot, but I still scratch my head on some of those lines because I'll putt it here and it'll go there, and it's just it's that way. But not to overswing, just to keep it in play. The par threes are friendly. You know, you can make up some ground there. A couple of the par fives are okay. We have a lot of guys who start at the back tees who wind up at the white tees.
And how about those ones that start at the white tees and wind up in the 19th hole?
That's a fact. That's a fact. In fact, when you finish golf here, we have a little gift that we give every foursome that has a bottle of whiskey, 4 shot glasses, and 4 cigars, because we figure they're pretty beaten up.
Wow, I like that idea. I'm going to start with the 18th green, pick up my gift, and we're all set to go.
Just hang out, right? We've been very fortunate, especially since the Senior PGA was played here in 2015, and the kudos that we got from the players, especially Colin Montgomery, who loved the golf course, as he would. He won the championship. But our play has picked up significantly. Our ultimate goal was to only have 6,000 rounds a year on this golf course because we wanted it to be a special, more private. We're on 15-minute tee times.
The tall fescue is certainly a visual addition to the course, but how's it come into play when people hit it in there?
Visually intimidating, gives you a great backdrop. To be honest with you, it takes a pretty errant shot to get in it. And local rule is we take it as a lateral hazard. We allow a drop, 2 club lengths, 1 shot, or you can play out of it, and you can ground your club. That's the exception. But to the average guy, you're going to get in it, and it's best just take the drop and move on. I've seen people in there do a lot of trimming fescue and trying to get out, and they finally take the drop.
The controversial hole, the 18th, a wow finish, but maybe one of the more difficult finishes I know.
Yeah, you stand back on the tee, and it's from the back tee it's 670 yards. So we're not going to stand on that tee, but
and that's a par 3, by the way.
Yeah.
670-yard par. No,
from 480, which is the white tee yardage, as you stand on the tee, it looks like a flat hole. You see, it's a big dog leg left, and right at the dog leg, it's 200 yards to the end of the dog leg where you can cut across. But what you don't see is the 100-foot drop in elevation after you pass the landing area. So if you hit it a little left and you pass the landing area, you're standing there with almost a tee-ball shot. You're reaching up at it, and it's tough. You just mostly have to hit it back in the fairway and go again. But I've seen a lot of championships played here, and it's very reachable for those players who participate. Even the Legends ladies, they can reach that thing in 2.
The Legends portion of the LPGA Tour, an extension for the ladies over 45, has made a home here for their championship at the end of the year.
Right. I think you can go around town, and you can go around the resort, and you can go around the golf courses, and you can ask anybody what their favorite event is of the year, and they're going to say without a doubt the Legends Tour Championship. And there are no gallery ropes. There's a lot of interaction. It's a lot of fun, and the greatest names in women's golf. The quality of play you see here from those ladies, and the tempo that you can learn just watching them hit on the range is pretty special. And we love having them for that reason.
The newly designed Exotics EX9 Hybrid is an exceptional blend of power, forgiveness, and workability. The EX9 Slipstream sole features shorter waves from front to back, dramatically reducing the amount of turf interaction and resulting in a full-speed explosive impact. The power grid has been re-engineered deeper and narrower, shifting more weight to the rear of the club head for added stability and maximum accuracy on every shot. A miraging steel cup face is combo brazed to a heavier hypersteel body and features variable face thickness technology to deliver Exotic's legendary distance and forgiveness from any lie. Give your game the ultimate combination of power, forgiveness, and workability. Visit touredge.com to find a dealer near you.
Dave, coming to work in this environment every day, I think is one of the reasons I know you to have a perpetual smile.
Well, it's not a bad office. It's not a bad office.
Not a bad one at all. This history of golf on the French Lick property is incredible and really an old history.
It started way back at the turn of the century. 1901, the resort was built. Shortly after, the owner decided that golf was going to be an important part of it. Tom Bendelow came through town back when he worked for Spalding Sports and laid out and not only an 18-hole course here, but a 27-hole course over in West Baden at that hotel at that time. And from there on, it grew. 9 holes are still there. We're fortunate back in 2006 to have a casino license granted to us, and we needed a great place for it. We couldn't think of a better place than the first fairway of the old Valley Links. So,
for those who like a flat layout, the Valley Links really is for them.
Well, I tell everybody that the Valley Links is not your grandma's Valley Links. You know, it's really changed over the years. We're pretty proud of the 9 that's down there, and we've made constant improvement to make it more playable, to make it more visually appealing. And I feel like right now it's probably as good as it's been. The USGA talks all the time about how golf takes too long and that we need to shorten the round. What better way than play 9? You know, it's a great initiative. Just go play 9. And
I've seen entire families out there.
Yeah, we have foot golfers ranging from age 3 to 93. It's a fun family sport. I always tell everybody that there's no clubs, no lessons, no stress. And it coexists well with golf. It's an hour and a half, 9-hole foot golf round, and everybody can play, and they can play in groups of 6 and play faster than a foursome.
The nice thing is you put in a terrific practice facility at Valley Links right next to the hotel, so if you've got an extra half hour, you can run out, sharpen your game.
Yeah, many people do. You know, between meetings, we have a lot of corporate and association meetings here. A lot of them do run out and hit balls and occasionally sneak off and play 9, which is the goal, by the way. But, you know, the practice facility serves several purposes. We let our local high school teams practice there. We have a golf academy here that's been very popular. It's not widely known, but haven't had any dissatisfied customers, and we do a lot of teaching there.
The Valley Links course, 9 holes, still remains next to the hotel. A little later in the 20th century, a big name sort of found his way to the town, a guy by the name of Donald Ross.
Via Mr. Taggart's vacations to Pinehurst, he met Donald Ross and brought him here in 1916 and started construction and built the Donald Ross course, then known as the Hill course, on a property about 3 miles out of town. Word is he and Taggart rode horseback through the country to find a piece of land that most suited Donald Ross's vision for a course here. And the course opened in 1917, and we were fortunate in 1924 Mr. Taggart brought the PGA Championship here.
Another famous name emerged in that championship.
It seems like we always get associated with characters in the business, and Walter Hagen was our winner, and that's no exception. He was known as a colorful character and really moved the game of golf to another level.
Well, you know, he really was a part of the elite of golf at that time, and a name that has endured thanks to a very special renovation that was done on that old course.
Yeah, we're, you know, you don't find in our business people who are dedicated all the time to the cause and to the vision, but the Cook Group out of Bloomington, Indiana, who they're not in the hotel and resort business, as you know, they're in the medical device business. Came here, bought the resort, bought the West Baden Springs, decided that golf was going to be one of the things at the forefront, and started the renovation out at Donald Ross in 2005, opened late in 2006. A gentleman named Lee Schmidt, who's an Indiana native, works with Brian Curley, and I think what we wound up with is pretty special.
Now, of course, that was built on a very hilly piece of property, which means that flat lies are not the norm, but also when you get
flat greens aren't either.
That's right, exactly. Tell us a little bit about that and how you handle it.
Well, you know, we run that fine line. We, for years, got known as the quickest greens in Indiana, and not necessarily because we maintained them at a high speed, because if you putted uphill, the stimp meter was probably 4. But if you got above the pin 10 feet and you putted down, it was probably 14. So, you know, there's a fine line. If you get those things to 10, it's hard to keep a ball on them in some places. So it really limits your cupping and limits and slows play. So we try to keep them somewhere around 8. Back in the day when Hagen won the PGA Championship, they were probably 5 or 6. So golf's changed, so have we. People love fast greens. They love to hate them.
Well, it transformed it into a very modern, very old golf course.
Yeah, well, we always like to say it's the best of the old and the best of the new. You know, you got Donald Ross here, who's probably got as many courses in the top 100 in the world as any architect, and you've got Pete Dye as arguably the best modern day architect. So the best of the old, best of the new is how we try to position ourselves.
When it comes to French Lick Resort, nobody knows more about it than Brendan Sweeney, marketing guru, and our storyteller today, telling the tale of the development of this resort. The hotels have been the driving force, and you have two very famous hotels here.
Yes, the West Baden Springs Hotel was built in 1901. It was deemed the 8th wonder of the world. From 1901 to 1969, it was the largest freestanding dome until they built the Houston Astrodome. And our French Lick Springs Hotel was originally built in 1845, had a fire in the late 1800s, and then again that was rebuilt. So in 1901 we had two massive projects, construction projects going on at the same time.
Casino gaming came in of the legal variety. You did have a lot of it back in the 20s from what I understand.
Yeah, back in the day there were close to 13 casinos that we knew about in French Lick, but we had 9 trains a day coming down from Chicago and continuing on throughout the United States. Famous people such as Al Capone, Abbott and Costello. Right behind us is the Taggart Mansion located on top of Mount Airy where the Pete Dye Golf Course is. In 1931 we hosted the Democratic National Convention of Governors, and that year FDR declared his presidency right here at the mansion on top of Mount Airy.
The culinary arts really is a big part of both hotels.
Well, at the resort we have over 13 different eateries, starting from pizza, located in Pluto's Alley, the Colonnade Grand Buffet, which we had breakfast, 1875 Steakhouse. And then
That's a world-class
World-class, A number 1. Now we go over some eating over at the West Baden Springs Hotel. We have Ballard's in the lobby of the atrium. We have Sinclair's, which is a 5-star dining experience. At one time, the mineral springs of French Lick and West Baden were world-renowned. Due to the sulfur content in the water, people would come down and take a lithium bath. We have 2 world-class spas, which are ranked very high in the Condé Nast list of nicest spas in America and even the world.
You really see the nostalgia theme everywhere here.
And you look at multi-generations. We have a lot of family reunions. We have Dixieland bands playing on the weekends. West Baden's more a little artistic. We have jazz bands playing over there. Bringing the old in with the new and keeping Americana simple.
With Gary Holland, retired basketball coach at Springs Valley High School in French Lick. And we could not do a show from French Lick without talking about Larry Bird.
Thank you.
And you certainly had quite an experience with him.
Well, it was a great experience because that was my first year as a varsity coach, and I thought, this was pretty easy. We get Larry to all the games, and we had a W there. And I said, it wasn't anything that I done. My offense was there. It's just what Larry did out on the floor. He made everybody a better player.
He's obviously a legend here. Retired jerseys hanging, his picture over there. Even his picture at half court. Oh, that's a different bird. Okay, sorry about that one.
He gave us a good work ethic and things to work on. Even after he left, our kids worked really hard, and I think that was from him.
So which is more famous, French Lick Resort or Larry Bird?
If you're traveling in the United States in different places, you mentioned you're from French Lick, they know about the hotel, and they also say, hey, that's hometown Larry Bird.
We're on the town green, beautiful downtown French Lick, Indiana. Misty Weisensteiner, Executive Director of Visit French Lick, West Baden, and I will visit any time here. Beautiful place in America.
It is, and we ordered the weather perfect for you.
Golfers come to places because of the golf courses.
Right.
But for families who have members who don't necessarily play golf, especially children, there is other things to do in the area.
There's lots of things to do in the area. We have the French Lick Scenic Railway, which offers themed train rides throughout the year, such as Chuggington, Wizard of Oz, Polar Express. We also have a very large indoor water park with a retractable roof. It has a hotel attached to it as well. So there's fun and warmth and water year-round. We have a wonderful museum in town too. It really ties together the rich history that the area has, and that's really Where the hotels came about was from the history and the mineral waters and the Pluto branding of the waters, and then the rich circus history as well. There's a wonderful, huge circus diorama within the museum that draws a lot of people in. And to tie in with the circus history, Willstem Ranch actually has 3 African elephants that you come in and do a spa experience with the elephants. So you're giving them a spa. It's an appreciation feel for the elephants, not a zoo feel or a circus feel at all.
While the 2 hotels are the culinary leaders in the area, there's a lot of other unique dining.
Oh, absolutely. There's a wonderful German cafe in town. The owner of that restaurant is straight from Germany, so you can get authentic, wonderful German food. There's also 33 Brick Street in town too, which if you want to see some iconic Larry Bird memorabilia, that's the place to go.
33, I know that number. Fair to say, a mix of old and new?
Absolutely. There's the modern conveniences. You can have fun, you can enjoy all the new things the area has to offer, but then also relish and take a step back in time and see all the beautiful historic buildings and the historic features that we have to offer. It's really taking a look into the past. And what a wonderful way to end the evening with a horse-drawn carriage ride throughout the property of the French Lick Resort. Absolutely wonderful.
360 degrees from the mountain atop the Pete Dye course, the views are spectacular. 360 degrees from the hotels, the atmosphere is one of nostalgic luxury. It's a step back in time and an enjoyable visit for both golfers and non-golfers. Stay with us as we travel along the golf trail of America and the world on the Traveling Golfer.
Tony Leodora's golf wardrobe, courtesy of Antigua, the leader in modern golf apparel. Tour Edge is the official equipment sponsor of the Traveling Golfer.